Welcome to another episode of Rebuilding Grand Bahama. Capital Works continued with a part 2, as this episode follows the construction and renovation of the Harold DeGregory Building, the Post Office, and the Garnett Levarity Justice Centre.
The experience of Dorian, it's definitely a lasting memory, etched in the minds of all of those here in Grand Bahama who experienced it, especially those of us here in the office of the Prime Minister, where the Emergency Operations Center was stationed. In the building, we had about almost 3 feet of water initially, and as the time passed, it crested or settled around about 2 feet of water inside the building. With the floodwaters impacting the building, we lost the entire ground floor to floodwaters. Files, furnishings, computers, everything was a complete wash. So we lost a lot of records, a lot of things were destroyed. It's ironic that the Emergency Operations Center was here to assist and aid in rescuing the wider community, but at some point it almost appeared that we needed to be rescued, we needed to be helped. The entire ground floor had to be gutted and renovated. We had to take out carpeting. We had to rewire the entire electrical aspects of the ground floor and get it back and get the building back to code.
After we take down the damaged sheetrock and other materials that needed to be discarded, we then had to treat the entire lower floor for the mold contamination. We used a product called mold contaminant 123 that is also preventable from the mold coming back. We also had to reconstruct all of the offices that were on the lower floor, including housing, the Prime Minister's office, and then we had to reconstruct the kitchen area that is now usable by the reconstruction of Grand Bahama offices. We also had to redo the bathrooms, remove the air conditions, put them back in place. Like I said, it was a tedious job. We had a number of persons. We had the painters, the carpenters, the electricians, the tile layers, some tile layers, because we had to redo the kitchen at the back. We also had the cabinet people come in, and we also replaced all of the appliances in the kitchen at the rear of the building that is now used by the reconstruction of Grand Bahama offices. One of the things that the government had insisted on was that we use materials that were hurricane proof to an extent. Like we used Durock in some areas. We had to put in durable doors. We had to also put in hurricane impact windows in some areas. But the government itself has done a tremendous job in not only giving us the job, but also guiding us along the way. Like I said, Mr. Colley and his staff was instrumental in helping us along to bring the project to a completion. They made sure that we was in a position to get what we needed to do the job that needed to be done. It took us about 3 to 4 months to get it operable, and where we could then say to them, okay, your office is now ready for use. And it makes me proud to know that a number of young Bahamians that we have trained over the years is now in a position to take over from us who are getting ready to leave this world, but they've learned a whole lot.
If you were to take a look around at the wider community and even inside this the building, at the work that was done, the craftsmanship, the storm impacted us negatively, but it brought a sense of refreshing. We have new desks, new chairs, new office spaces, new homes. We're just a resilient set of people on the island of Grand Bahama.
We have been contracted to restore the post office back, and we have 6 subcontractors who will be working along with us to do that. We're going to be doing the windows, doors, roof, etc. We are going to be doing an excellent job and a professional job to get this building back to where it needs to be.
We are delighted to be partnering with Masako Investments on the refurbishment of the General Post Office here in Freeport. We're responsible for removing all of the glass, all of the old frames, and we're going to be installing the new hurricane impact windows and doors and frames. We're going by the scope that the Ministry of Works has supplied us, and we are going to ensure that the impact glass that we put in will be able to withstand hurricane force winds up to a category 5. We're looking at a 3-month turnaround, a 90-day turnaround. Once we get the product here on the ground, we're looking at about 3 months to take out all of these windows, all of the glass, all of the doors, and get all of our new hurricane impact windows and doors in. Grand Bahama Island needs, work like this in order to keep things going, that we can have persons employed, that they can support and sustain their families. And I think overall it's good for the community and it's good for the island.
We're doing all the concrete respiration, and we're repairing all the cracks to the building. In our next stage, after moving all the loose concrete, we're going to treat all the steel rebar. And after treating all the steel rebar, we're going to come with the 1 and 2 stage epoxy and apply it to the rebar. And then we're going to go ahead with the plastering of the wake. A company like Masako Investment, when he calls small contractors like myself to be a part of it, it helps me with my small man who works with me. And he's quite satisfied with the work that we are doing so far. So we are going to continue to carry it out and the stages that it's supposed to be carried out under Masako Investment.
We had the magistrate and the Supreme Courts in Grand Bahama. NOLA Investments, which is a company of mine, I'm the president, has been given the contract to refurbish both sides of the court, which included the interior and the exterior of the building. As you can see, this building is hurricane proof. Everything in here has been changed. The courts have been remodeled, all of the bathrooms have been remodeled, all of the columns have been replaced, all the travertine and the lifts have been repaired. The government, in its effort to regenerate Grand Bahama, has done a tremendous job in assisting NOLA Investments on this project in particular, with Mr. Larry Bastian, Mr. Carlos Butler, and Mr. Roll from M&E in Nassau, with the help of the Ministry of Works in Grand Bahama. 3 months after we started the building, the hurricane came, and we had a complete washout. Barring none, we couldn't get the materials here to repair the building, so we had a 3-month delay in the completion time of the project. We had a meeting with the Chief Justice, Mr. Marie Moore, who was also instrumental in helping us to chart our path along in order to bring this project to a successful conclusion. We also have to commend the Prime Minister for his input and the ministers, local minister, Mr. Kwesi Thompson in Grand Bahama. I am quite happy to say that I have made my contribution toward the development and the refurbishment of Grand Bahama.